want to turn to Dr. Emmanuel Navon. He's a senior fellow at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security. He's an international relations expert. Thank you very much for being with us. So first of all, a few headlines coming out of that presser by Putin earlier. First of all, he says that Putin and Biden agreed to return ambassadors to the capitals. That's a first step, a very important step. And second, he says, I found a partner. He says, Biden and I found a common language. That's quite a lot, considering where relations were just a moment ago between the killer and the man with no soul.
Yes, but on the other hand, let us not be fooled by what Putin said and agreed with Biden. I mean, as we were listening to this press conference, Putin is basically rejecting any criticism. It's all about, I mean, Putin has no commitment to the truth. All his answers are about whataboutism. Whenever journalists ask him about him eliminating his opponents, he says, well, there are also issues in the United States, as if the U.S. president also eliminated the heads of the opposition. So behind those gestures which you mentioned, the bottom line is that Putin actually needs the United States and needs the West in general as an enemy in order to affirm his rule, his authoritarian rule in Russia. So I do not expect, besides those gestures, an improvement in the relation, because, as I said, Putin has no commitment to the truth. It's all about whataboutism. And as I said, at the end of the day, he needs the U.S. As an enemy because he's an autocrat.
One thing he mentioned with relation to that is speaking directly about Alexei Navalny, who was poisoned and got treatment in Berlin and then made his way back to Russia. He said Navalny violated the law and returned to Russia knowing that he would get arrested. One of the journalists there tried to ask him if he's afraid. Why is he not allowing any opponents to run against him freely? And were you surprised at all by how many times he did address the issue, although he reiterated once and again the same points?
Well, very typically, whenever Putin was asked about Navalny, he would point out to what he claims are human rights issues in the United States. You know, how the U.S. Army killed civilians in Afghanistan, as if it was related at all. Talking about, Guatemala as if it was related. So basically, instead of admitting that he himself tried to eliminate Navalny, is trying to divert the attention by pointing out to human rights issues and to alleged war crimes committed by the United States in Afghanistan and other places. So it's, as I said before, it's all about whataboutism. It's about avoiding addressing his elimination or his attempts to kill Navalny by pointing out to completely unrelated human rights issues in the United States. He's not used to taking questions from Western journalists. I mean, his media are state-controlled, whether it's RT or Sputnik, and so he's just not used to be confronted by journalists from the free press and confronting him with his misdeeds. So his answer, as I said, his way of relating to those well-founded accusations is trying to point out to the United States and to alleged crimes committed by the United States in the Middle East.
Well, first of all, he seems to be enjoying it quite a bit, that unusual meeting with foreign journalists, because it is still going on. And it has been going on for 40 minutes now. He could stop it at any point, I would imagine. One of the interesting points I found was the way he referred to the activities by Russia in the Arctic. That are concerning many in the U.S. and around the world. And he's saying we're merely restoring infrastructure that we always had there from Soviet times. Is this what evidence suggests as well, or are they increasing quite a bit their presence there from what it used to be under the USSR?
So first of all, the answer is that, as I said before, Putin has absolutely no commitment to the truth and to facts. So what he is saying is untrue. And for many months and years, Russia has been changing the status quo in the Arctic by increasing its military presence, by trying to grab energy resources, and by challenging the United States, and breaking rules that used to be accepted rules among the 8 countries that share some kind of sovereignty around the Arctic. So Putin very clearly, first of all, is not saying the truth, and second of all, is indeed changing the status quo in the Arctic, testing the United States in that region. And I think it's very important for the United States and for the Biden administration to draw a line in the sand. And the meeting that took place in the recent days between Joe Biden and Western leaders of the G7 was a very good start, because it was a very clear show of solidarity among the West and Western nations vis-a-vis Putin. But very clearly, Putin is trying to change the status quo in the Arctic, and what he's saying is simply not true.
And there's also criticism already from China, for example, over Biden's meeting with the G7 and NATO just prior to his meeting with Putin. China is saying you're polarizing the world. You're creating a facade of the Cold War.
Right. Of course, coming from China, this is rich, of polarizing the world. I mean, China, as we know, has international ambitions. It has this whole project of the Belt and Road Initiative. It's taking control of resources around the world for its energy needs, and of course infringing upon the sovereignty of Southeast Asian nations around the South China Sea. But I think that the fact that China is expressing its frustration about this renewed solidarity in the West is actually a good sign, because both Russia and China did very much enjoy the spat within the West during the Trump administration. The fact that Trump did not show any solidarity with America's traditional allies in the West, whether it was the EU or NATO. And the welcome policy change of Joe Biden, which is to rebuild and to restore Western solidarity and Western unity, is obviously something that neither Russia nor China like.
Yep.
They've been using this divide and rule tactic vis-a-vis the West.
Yeah.
And I think the Chinese comment is actually a very good sign, and that's confirmed that Biden is serious about restoring Western solidarity.
Emmanuel Navon, a senior fellow at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security, thank you very much.